Hello, Skoob believer, and welcome to another episode of the Undiscovered Entrepreneur with me, DJ Skoob, coming at you at whatever device you happen to be listening on. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, but same at the same time. So what I'm going to do here for you today, it's going to be me and just me, and I'm going to ask myself questions that are specifically for experienced entrepreneurs. I know we just finished a round of experienced entrepreneurs not too long ago. So I want to go ahead and kind of ask myself the same questions because I think I've gotten to the point now where I could answer these pretty good, I'd hope, anyway, and see what happens. So we're going to go ahead and go right into it here. So my first question is the same question I ask everybody. Are you a Skoob believer? And if I'm not a Skoob believer, I don't know who is. I am definitely a Skoob believer. I do believe in myself, and everything that I do up to this point has been amazing. So I can't be more Skoob believer than I already am. So, all right. So the next question, describe for me the beginning of your entrepreneur adventure and how things are and what you do. So if you've been following me from the very beginning, you kind of know, but if this is the first time you've actually got to hear about me a little bit or want to figure out who I am, I started out, well, I've been in sales for a really long time. I've sold all kinds of different types of things: water filtration systems, vacuum cleaners, cell phones, long distance service, cars, all kinds of different types of things. So I've always had a knack for it. I was in the FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America, because I loved business. What can I say? It was just kind of a part of me. And up to that point, when I was all the way from when I was a kid, I would be that little kid trying to sell baseball cards on his front lawn. Always loved sales. So up until just before COVID hit, I had just different types of ideas for all kinds of different types of things. Automated cards was one of them I tried to do. One of them was an actual physical service where I could check dealerships for their inventory and make sure it was current. All kinds of different things. So right after COVID hit, I didn't know what was going on. I had a lot of extra time because one of my jobs was actually closed down, and that was the restaurant job. I came up with the idea of wanting to be a karaoke DJ and a music DJ. Music has always been a part of my life. Love music, love making it, loved karaoke. So I was like, I'll be a karaoke DJ and music DJ. So I figured by the time I got everything together to become a karaoke DJ, COVID would be over. Not exactly what happened, but that's what was going through in my head. So I've decided to start a GoFundMe page because I had no equipment, no nothing, and I didn't have a dollar to my name because one of my jobs was closed down. I thought people would just give me money. So obviously that was wrong. That didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. So instead of kind of throwing my hands up in the air and saying, hey, I'm done with this, I'm not going to do this, I decided to research why it didn't work. And I think that was really the key component for what I was doing is, why didn't this work? So I started listening to podcasts about entrepreneurship, ways to start a GoFundMe page or start a Kickstarter or something like that. And one of the ideas that came across in my research was to start a podcast so people could listen to you and understand what you're trying to accomplish, and then people would be willing to give you money if they kind of want to help you out. Up to that point, I wasn't really too sure about podcasts. I've heard of them. I've listened to a couple of them. Obviously, within my research, I was starting to listen to them. And I was like, okay, I could start a podcast, but how do I do that? What do I do to start a podcast? What would I even talk about? So thinking back to my younger days, I was thinking, nobody ever gave me a chance to talk about what I was doing, talk about what I was trying to accomplish when I was trying to start those other businesses I was talking about, because I felt that nobody would give me the shot because I was just getting started. Why would anybody give me a shot? So I decided to start my podcast about brand new entrepreneurs so they got a chance, they got a shot at getting onto a platform without having to go all the way to the very end of everything just to be listened to. So I started the podcast, and it was so amazing. I was meeting all kinds of great people. Some bigger names I started listening to, Cliff Ravenscraft, Esprit Devora, all kinds of amazing people that I didn't think wouldn't even talk to me until I had the podcast. So it became a fantastic thing. And now we're going on year 2 of the podcast, and it's been amazing ever since then. So that's kind of how I got started in my entrepreneur adventure. So my next question here, in your first year of your entrepreneur adventure, what was the deepest pitfall you encountered? So I realized that I was new, and I had a lot more to learn when it came to producing a podcast. When I first got started, I just put out there whatever I could put out there at whatever time, and it was okay. It was, I started to get traction and that kind of thing, but I wasn't really going anywhere. My production wasn't very good. So I guess it was just kind of a learning curve at that particular point, and my deepest pitfall was, I don't know, just learning. I had to learn how to do all this stuff on my own. Nobody wasn't really teaching me except for my virtual mentors, which ended up being Pat Flynn was my biggest virtual mentor. I listened to his podcast, Smart Passive Income, watched his videos on YouTube, and just started learning things like that. It was difficult at first. It really was. But ultimately, at the end, it started making a big difference. And actually sitting down, studying and learning these people and how they accomplished what they had to accomplish. And I thought to myself, why can't I do something similar to that? Not exactly the same thing. It's going to be different. But why can't I accomplish something that similar? So after doing research, bumping up my productivity a little bit, learning more ways to produce better content, different sounding content, added some music, added the YouTube channel. It's been amazing ever since. So that's definitely, even though it was my hardest pitfall, and I learned from it. I definitely learned from it. Back when we were getting started, did you have a mentor that helped you succeed? Yes, definitely had a mentor. I've already mentioned him once, Pat Flynn. And he's been my biggest influence up to this point. Cliff Ravenscraft, that I mentioned also earlier, has been a big influence in my coaching career. Listening to him coach other people, him asking questions, and actually talking to me a couple of times, giving me directions on books to read and how to speak, really. Listening to him talk to other people and how he spoke to other people kind of made me think how I need to do that. He definitely pointed out a couple books for me to read, which I took advantage of, and it definitely helped me out. So a couple great people. But personally, when I think about the other people that I talk to, what I really like to do is take the positive things that I get from other people, the positive learnings, the positive attitudes, and incorporate them into my own personality. And when you incorporate them in your own personality, it becomes yours. And it really helped me when I did this with Pat, when I did this with Cliff, and when I do it with everybody that I talk to, incorporating positive things into my personality so I can project them out to you as an audience has been probably one of the best things I've ever done. So yeah, I've had a couple of virtual mentors, but everybody around me is a mentor of some way, shape, or form, because everybody that I come in contact with means so much to me. I love taking the positive things from everybody and incorporating into myself. So that really makes a big difference in what I do. All right. So this next question, in hindsight, what failure are you most proud of and why? That gets pretty deep for me sometimes. It's hard to be proud of a failure until you're actually at the other end of that failure to see what it actually meant for you. It's hard at the very beginning when you have a failure because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. It's difficult to see. But when you get to the end of that failure and you realize you're actually supposed to learn something from that failure, that's when it makes you feel good. That's when it makes the biggest difference. I always thought about my karaoke DJ and music DJ business as kind of that failure that pointed me in the direction of the podcast. But I've had other failures too. People that I've let down before I started the podcast that I really shouldn't have. This isn't really a proud failure, to be honest with you, but I really feel it was something I needed to say. So sorry about that. Let me change this up a little bit. So a failure I'm proud of, I'm kind of living it right now. There are some negative things that are happening to me right now that I know there's going to be positive things later that I just have to get through. But I know in the end they're going to be good because that's the way I'm going to perceive it. Okay. All right. Currently, what are you most proud of in your vast number of accomplishments? Well, I don't think I've had a vast number of accomplishments, but I've had a few. I think number one right now would be my coaching and the people I get to help. Helping other people is what I've always been into ever since I was small. From holding the door open for other people to helping, even though I was a little one, I would try to help anyway, whether people took me seriously or not. But I think my coaching at this particular point, I mean, the podcasting's awesome too, don't get me wrong, but I think the coaching has been the one thing where I can get one-on-one with somebody and attempt to help them and possibly change their lives for the positive. I really think that's been an amazing accomplishment for me. I don't think I'd ever be able to do that because I really didn't think nobody would listen to me. But here I am. And I'm starting to help more and more people. And that's definitely an accomplishment for me. And I hope to help others as time goes on. Maybe you. Who knows? Contact me sometime. All right. I want to turn that into a commercial. Okay, moving on. So, what advice would you give to somebody who is looking to make a jump into entrepreneurship? And I'm going to say this, even though I've said it so many different times. Just get started. Find a way to start. Read a book. Talk to somebody. Even though it's small, even though it's minute, it's a start. It's pushing you in a direction. It's getting something accomplished that you haven't accomplished before. And lately I've been using this, even small starts, even reading that little book, it's a small snowflake. You get enough of those snowflakes together and make a snowball. You get enough snowballs together, you either start throwing them at people or you make a snowman. Depends on what you're going to end up doing. So really just starting anything that you're interested in or even slightly interested in, or if it's, I mean, when I started one thing and ended up doing this instead. It's all because I started something. Didn't necessarily have to be what I ended up with, but I started with something, and I really think that you could do the same thing too with your entrepreneurial adventure. It's just get started. All right, I know this is kind of a shorter one, but this was still important for me to kind of put together. And I really hope that you all learned a little bit more about me and what I have to offer and what kind of person I am. If you like what you hear, please give me a follow on any of the platforms that you're watching or listening to. I would really appreciate that. Also, I'm going to go ahead and put this out. I think when I put this episode out, my free giveaway is going to be live. So what this giveaway is 4 AI prompts that I've put together to help you get you started on your entrepreneur adventure. And basically, it's a cut and paste kind of thing where you just copy, fill in the blank, and then the AI should do the rest for you. It's not a Bible, just so you know. It's an idea generator. So I want to make sure we get the juices flowing when it comes to your entrepreneurial adventure and what you want to actually get started. So if you go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt, you will get those prompts for free. And I want you to use those prompts to come up with your first entrepreneur idea adventure. Doesn't necessarily mean that's where you're going to end up, but it's a start. And I don't think anything's more important than that. Also coming up in October 2nd, I believe, is going to be my first live group coaching. If you want to be a part of that, go to doingittodaycoaching@gmail.com and we will get you a spot. I still have all 5 spots available. If you want to take advantage of it, do it. I would really appreciate just somebody to come in and just listen to what I have to say. Also, I am now actively working on a boot camp for any new entrepreneurs that need guidance to how to get started. The Undiscovered boot camp will be available really, really soon. So stay tuned for that, for when that gets released. On my TikTok and on my socials, I will be putting out updates on those and how those are coming along and what I'm doing to make this happen. So be sure to stay tuned on that. On Twitter, UE Podcast 2021. Same thing for TikTok, UE Podcast 2021. And any of my other socials you can find on Linktree. That's linktr.ee/DJ Skoob. Find everything there if you want to follow me. All right, Skoob Believers, thank you for another great episode. This has definitely been an experience for me. I don't usually do this, but I figured it was time I did something like this eventually. Please contact me anytime if you'd like. I'd really like to hear what you have to say about my podcast and how much you like it or not. Either way, it's fine with me. All right, Skoob Believers, thank you so much. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.